for all of us, I'm sure you'll agree, checking emails and SMS has become just an activity. But WhatsApp has become part of our lives, not just in India, but all over the world. And with 2 billion active users on WhatsApp, we will begin this discussion, which is titled How WhatsApp is Driving Conversational Commerce. My name is Jyotsna, and I lead partnerships for Verloop, and I'll be the moderator for today's discussion. We're joined by two incredible thought leaders, Renisha and Gaurav. Um, Renisha handles strategic partnerships for WhatsApp, and Gaurav is the founder and CEO of Verloop. In today's webinar, we'll be taking an in-depth view on how to drive conversational commerce at scale. To kick things off, let's get to know our panelists better. It would be great if both of you can share a little bit about your role and what matters to you most. Renisha?
Hey, thanks, Jyotsna. Hi, everyone, and really excited to be here with you guys. Hoping it'll be, we'll all have a really interesting discussion about WhatsApp and how it's shaping up commerce for businesses. My role is that of a strategic partner manager at WhatsApp, and that means that I work with a lot of our channel partners to enable businesses to communicate and do business better on WhatsApp today. So again, really excited to be here, and over to you, Gaurav.
Hey everyone, hey Renisha. I would like to welcome all of you to this conversation webinar discussion. I'm Gaurav, started Verloop about 5 odd years back, have been working with WhatsApp for ever since the APIs first came out, and excited to speak to all of you and discuss our learnings, what our findings we have, and how we are seeing businesses take WhatsApp, connect with customers at scale, and then deliver great customer engagement across the channels. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you guys for sharing that. And I want to welcome the audience again, and thank you for joining us. Just to give a quick overview of the structure of the webinar to the audience as well, we'll be addressing the topic of the webinar first, and then it will be followed by a 5 to 10 minute Q&A session. So you guys can share your questions in the Q&A section in the webinar. And yeah, so let's dive right in. Renisha, to start with you, businesses today, big or small, they are gung-ho about WhatsApp as a medium to reach out to their end customers for everything, right? Right from marketing, selling of products, or plain customer support. Could you shed some light on how brands can leverage WhatsApp to drive end-to-end commerce?
Thanks. Great question, Jyotsna. I think the evolution of WhatsApp being used by businesses to communicate with their customers and enable customer support, or pre-purchase, purchase kind of journeys on the channel, has in fact been quite organic. As you know, WhatsApp first started out as a person-to-person messaging app. And what started happening organically over the platform is that small business owners started doing business on WhatsApp, started creating, their groups of their customers, uploading status posts about like new products. They would send out like these broadcast messages, etc., to their customer base, and they just started doing business, on a platform that wasn't meant to do that. And one of the reasons was, of course, the reach of the platform. Like you said, for a lot of us, it's a way of life. It's maybe the first app we look at in the morning. It's incredibly, easy to use. It's familiar for a lot of us. And that's why probably we have about like 2 billion active users all over the world as well. And so businesses, obviously we're finding that there is some kind of, gap that is being bridged here in a sense that WhatsApp was able to give to them in the form of a one-to-one kind of communication, a personal communication with their end customers, which they weren't able to really do on maybe through other channels, which had become largely very commercialized and to a certain extent very ignored as well. With WhatsApp coming in, of course, businesses are able to, one, communicate proactively to their existing customer base. So they can send out like these proactive notifications to customers about, let's say, if there's a new product launch, or if there is maybe, hey, it's time to renew, your subscription, or it's time to reorder, your monthly kind of grocery order, which you normally do, whatever that may be. Business can now go and send that out on WhatsApp and get that done really simply. It's also very convenient for the user because they're checking WhatsApp like, maybe 30, 40 times a day or more. So that's just one thing which is very relevant now for the user, and they're getting something useful, which they can then just go ahead and actually implement or execute on the channel itself. Because now on WhatsApp, we even support the ability for businesses to kind of show their to display a catalog of products that they currently are offering, and the user can go ahead, select the products that they want, create their own cart, go ahead, place the order, get the payment done, and the order is placed. So that convenience of having an always on messaging channel that can go ahead and be the channel where they can complete the conversation without having to talk to someone else or visit a store or do any of that, is one of the reasons why WhatsApp is really simple, and businesses are seeing value in actually investing in the channel. So one, of course, is they're able to send out these proactive communications, but also they're able to have this kind of interactivity happening on the channel, right? Because if you think about WhatsApp, that's what we do. We chat with people, right? It's an exchange of messages. And this conversational kind of experience that the channel offers to businesses and consumers is something that is really taking shape and form in the minds of people today. Um, Customers can now, of course, like I mentioned, shop for products. They can ask questions about, hey, what is this product about? Can I get it in like 3 different other colors? Is there like an EMI scheme for this, etc.? So they can even ask questions and make that informed decision before they make the purchase. That's the kind of power that a conversational commerce journey that gets powered over WhatsApp really brings. And of course, once they've actually made the purchase, they can actually get support for maybe something that they need post their purchase. And this is, of course, powered at scale by the WhatsApp API, which can, of course, be able to handle multiple millions of conversations at a single time, either through automation, which is where you typically have your AI kind of solutions come in. So you have a chatbot solution come in and be able to handle those incoming queries. Or you could even, if you think that your customers would prefer the human touch and the human angle to it, you could even move that conversation from the chatbot to a human agent, or have human agents man the channel at all times to actually get the job done and serve your customers better. So I think WhatsApp is becoming that channel where end-to-end commerce is now becoming a reality for businesses and customers, and it's becoming that channel which is super convenient, always on, like I mentioned, 24/7, and something that both consumers are really easy. You find really easy because it's something that they're used to doing and used to chatting on. So I would say that yeah, I think there's a lot more for businesses to kind of invest in and leverage WhatsApp for. And we're continuing to make these investments on commerce because we believe that this is going to be a big game changer for businesses across the world.
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you said. The power of WhatsApp, we've all seen. I just feel that being able to communicate with the brand on WhatsApp just makes me feel closer to the business as well. So I'm more confident shopping, and because I know that they are accessible. I would ask Gaurav that with WhatsApp becoming the holy grail for customer communication in a B2C environment, How can businesses leverage innovation in this space?
Sure. Thanks, Jyotsna. And thanks, Renisha, for walking us through how WhatsApp has been evolving. So, see, if you will look at, channel aside, right? See, the idea mostly for businesses is to connect with their customers, right? And while they are connecting with the customers, it has to be done at the minimum friction possible. Now, this all started with there were physical retail stores, then came internet, then so wherever your customers are, businesses keep migrating to it, and the reason being, you want to be available to the customer the moment they desire to be connected with you, right? That age-old idea of send me an email and I'll respond to you in probably 48 hours or maybe 72 hours or whenever my business opens again, that doesn't fly, at least for the current age. And I'll say for the current WhatsApp spoiled generation, where we all are used to talking to everyone in async fashion almost instantly, right? So the business wants to be connecting with customers with the least friction. And then you look at what platform are the people spending most of their time on. It's WhatsApp. Usually for all the emerging markets and for most of the people, they spend a significantly high amount of time on WhatsApp. From, about a year and a half back when I last read a survey, I think it was more than 50% of the time Indians were spending on mobile was on WhatsApp while talking to the people, right? And this is where they also express themselves in the true shape and form they are. They will talk in the language of their choice. Then they talk the way they want. Some type, some record audios and send, and some play just with the GIFs or however they feel most comfortable, right? So that's where your customers are, and that's where businesses want to be. Now, if you will look at so people started speaking to brands and WhatsApp, and now if you want to capture the attention of people, you need to be present there. And what has happened over the time is with the APIs coming and then more features coming up, WhatsApp has become more and more powerful as a medium to connect with customers. Initially, it started just with messaging, where we will try to replicate and try to simulate flows in one way or the other. Like Renisha said, that conversations were already happening on the platform for commerce and all. And then now we are getting it in a more structured, enriched format. So as the adoption increased, now brands are present on the platform and they can connect with customers easily, reduce that friction, right? Send better notifications, make things more personalized. And when that happens and friction goes away, it improves you across. It doesn't just improve your top line, it will improve your bottom line as well. It improves your engagement, repeat orders. Any item is missing, you can do that. So it drives the value of the customer across the stack up. There are a lot of things that a brand needs to care of, but I believe the new platform and the way platform has been evolving eventually is super powerful to manage the customer across the life cycle, from notifications to driving purchases to doing the support post the conversation, just maintain the entire life cycle on the same platform where they spend the most of the time. And so it has been pretty amazing to see businesses deliver this experience, win that customer love. Like I'll talk, there is a hotel booking brand. They have amazingly increased their experience of getting the feedback from the customers on the properties they stayed in by using the entire of the conversation experience. And now a lot of brands are moving to the entire commerce stack along with, right? Why just review? You can also book the next property there. So that has been great, and the adoption has been rapid, and that's what probably how the brands will keep jumping to it to maintain the entire life cycle within the WhatsApp as a platform where people can talk in the language they want, be most comfortable speaking to the brand, not get forced a paradigm of what their UX designers thought is the best way to connect with the customer, but reverse it and let the customer decide how they want to speak, because in this platform, customer takes precedence. So that has been fun to watch, and that's what probably more and more adoption will lead to.
Truly agree with you. Moving over to Renisha, if you could, you've already mentioned about the product catalogs coming on WhatsApp. I know we've been eagerly waiting for businesses to be able to share their product catalogs directly over a WhatsApp chatbot. And WhatsApp for Business API does exactly that. Could you help our audience understand how this works and how this would benefit a particular brand or a business?
Sure. So, um, like I mentioned, businesses are now able to share sort of dynamic lists of or catalogs of the products that they currently offer. This, of course, was already available on our product, which is for meant for smaller businesses, which is the WhatsApp Business app. The catalog feature was already available. But there, of course, the businesses, it's meant for a smaller business. So the business has to go and send that out manually, a link to the product catalog to whomever they want to contact. It cannot be really scaled up as such if they want to send it to thousands or millions of their customers, right? What we have achieved on the API today with the WhatsApp Business API, which is of course meant for mid-sized to larger enterprise customers, is for them to be able to share a dynamically created list of 30 products, which is very curated for that particular customer. So therefore, you have a very personalized experience, wherein if, let's say, Jyotsna comes onto the platform and is talking to the business, she is recommended or is shown a product list which is of 30 items, which is very, very personalized to her browsing habits or her preferences. Whereas if Gaurav comes on, he could be shown a completely different set of products or listings. Now, what this does really is that, one, it's not showing you, the whole set of catalog, options that the business may be supporting. So it actually is very useful for high intent, maybe low consideration types of use cases. Now, these could be possibly, things where, okay, think of examples where I have already browsed as a customer on the website or the app of the business, but I've not yet made that purchase decision, right? So the business could actually send me a recommendation saying that, hey, we saw you checking this particular product or this particular category of items. Here are a few suggestions for you, and I could just open that up and I could see like a list of 30 items, which is what I was looking for, plus maybe a few more products that may be of interest to me, just based on recommendation engines. So that makes it very, very good, because now I was looking for something and now I've got something that's really useful and relevant to me. Similarly, maybe if I am a existing customer of a brand and I always purchase on a monthly basis, certain personal care items, or let's say beauty care, etc., then they could probably send that over to me, saying a message saying that, hey, 50% off on like your regular order. Why don't you go ahead and book right away? And that's again useful for me, because now I know that there's an offer and there's incentive for me to do that. Plus, it's something that I regularly use. So I don't have to really think about it. I could just go ahead and make that purchase very, very quickly. So this is how businesses are now able to have a very dynamic kind of a catalog view that they're able to show within WhatsApp. To get it set up, it's fairly simple. We use Facebook catalog. So we ride over the Facebook catalog infrastructure that we already have in that product. If you as a brand are using dynamic ads in Facebook or Instagram, you're most likely already using a catalog from Facebook. So you probably already have that set up. All you then need to do is just connect your Facebook catalog to your WhatsApp Business API account. And once you do that, it's a simple API integration where on the fly, you can decide among those millions of possibly, product SKUs that you have within your catalog, which are the first sort of 30 items that you want to show to a particular user at a given time, depending on what they are looking for. So you could literally even have a journey like me as a user coming in, you could show me a list of categories to say that, what are you looking for today? Are you looking for groceries? Are you looking for apparel? Are you looking for something else, right? And based on the category that I pick, I could actually be shown a different set of products. And then, of course, we actually have this really good feature within the UI itself of WhatsApp, wherein you can view the product, you can add it to carts, you can add maybe 2 or 3 items You can add multiple quantities of the same item, create your cart, and then you could message that whole cart over back to the business. The business then, once they have that through the API, in real time could go ahead and process that order. You could take them probably to a payment gateway where they could go and make the payment ahead, and that's it. I mean, that's how easy the integration could be. But of course, like I mentioned, it does require a Facebook catalog to be created. If you work with some of the existing kind of e-commerce platforms like Shopify or WooCommerce or one of those, we actually have pre-built integrations there as well for those catalogs, because that kind of integration already exists with Facebook catalogs. So if that already exists, then it becomes again much more simpler, and you can go ahead and create this catalog and commerce journey very easily on WhatsApp. And for the business, I think in terms of benefits, one, of course, you're looking at conversion. So your ROI is going to be significant, especially if you're able to target the right audience with the right messaging at the right time. Like I mentioned, when it's a high intent purchase, you already have the the interest of the customer. You already have them interested in buying that product. So it's very easy for you to then go ahead and send them that timely message, and for them to then take that action is really simple, because it's just intuitive and in a guided flow for them to go ahead and actually go ahead and place that order on WhatsApp. So the whole purchase then can actually happen within WhatsApp itself without them ever having to leave the chat. And what we've seen even through our research is that 7 out of 10 customers actually prefer to buy from a business whom they can message or whom they can chat from. So that's super powerful, because as a consumer, you want to be able to get that instant kind of messaging or instant kind of communication back or help when you want it, and be able to chat with the business and to make your decision much more simpler. So I would say for businesses, it's definitely looking at conversions, which will increase. We've seen much higher ROI, just anecdotally from businesses who started using this as well. And I think this is one of the ways for businesses to really boost their sales, apart from, of course, creating that awesome customer experience, which will only, of course, lend to a longer lifetime value for those customers.
I absolutely agree with you, and love the personalization feature that WhatsApp has come up with. And would want to understand from Gaurav, with WhatsApp rolling these functional releases, how does the conversational AI platform like Verloop deal with the added complexity?
Sure. So, see, I wouldn't call it added complexity. It actually ends up making our life easier, especially with all the commerce and all coming up, right? Like we have been discussing. Let's look at WhatsApp automation before commerce. All these commerce features came in, right? People were still sending missing products in the cart reminder. I mean, missed carts reminder, abandoned cart reminder. People will still sending messages about the products which have been put back in stock. So a lot of times people put, hey, update me once this item is in stock, right? So people were still sending those updates. There were brands who were still sending you product recommendations. But this was all done in a pretty not so great customer experience way, because we were trying to utilize the template messages via image plus some text on it, but that's not really interactive, right? So people were still working around and trying to achieve the same results with whatever means and ways they had in their hands, limited interactions. And what was happening at that moment was we were spending a lot more time to give a great experience to the extent possible, because these elements, the rich elements which Renisha just discussed about, were not there back then, right? So as the platform keeps evolving, as WhatsApp keeps adding more features, as the carts became interactive, right? I mean, you can show a better list of the products. These lists are more have more data to it. You can scroll through them. 30 items is a lot of items if you have done your segmentation, personalization, right? So you can create those cards, everything which was being done in a hacky way previously. So as these get added, I'll say for us like Whirloop, the life gets a lot easier because of course we have to keep up with the pace of WhatsApp's development. When they release commerce, we have to quickly build those features, and we have to release those features, right? But in the end, what happens is the amount of effort which we end up spending per customer, or the amount of effort which a customer has, business has, to deliver a great conversational experience significantly goes down. The experience which the end customer has comes down. Goes up, right? So their interactions become better. So it gets a lot more easier, faster, and better experience for the end customer to utilize these features. Like commerce on WhatsApp now is such a great experience, especially if the brand is doing the personalization right and recommending the right products, right? So I'll give you use cases. So we work with an e-commerce brand where we are aware of what you're buying, as a brand is aware of what you as Jyotsna have been purchasing, right? Let's take a night cream. Now we know approximately in 6 weeks you do a repeat purchase. Because it's a night cream and it's such a specialized targeted product, we also know what other things will go well with your skin type. So next time, instead of we waiting for you in the 6 weeks to come and buy, we can reach out and say, hey, it's time for you to refill your stock. Here is a button to do that. Because now there is a button. Now you don't need to say yes, shop, or kind of things, right? Now there's a single tap button. And guess what? There are these 5 other items which you might be interested in. Right? And then those become very interactive rather than previous message, pure text experience. So it involves some development at our side, but the benefits which we get are very, very big. The kind of jump in the customer experience which we get is amazing. Right? So, and when these experiences improve, so does the conversions improve. The metric which the brands have been tracking get better, the outcomes are better, customer experience goes better, and that's all in the end that matters, right? So it has been fun constantly catching up with all the things WhatsApp has been releasing, and that just delivers better experience. Hey, Jyotsna, you're on mute.
Yeah, right. I couldn't agree more. We all love anything personalized coming our way, and it's a great platform to re-engage with the your customer base. Renisha also mentioned how personalized experiences are benefiting businesses today. I'm curious to know from you, Gaurav, how does deploying a chatbot on WhatsApp help a business connect, follow up, and engage with customers in a personal and effective way?
Sure. So see, how it helps brands. So what, like I said in the start, right? You want to be as close to the customers as possible, and you want to be as personalized to the customer as possible. The difference between deploying an app versus being on, say, something as a personal platform like WhatsApp is, you have to focus on doing the personalization right. Because even though there are 30 products, real estate is still limited, and you want to not show a one size fit all for everyone. So how it helps brands is the customer's friction comes a lot down, right? Their interaction, instead of like, let's take the same example which we were discussing, right? A night cream. Now you actively thinking about that, hey, I need to go and buy the product, then open up the app, then figure out from your last purchase what, you of course know it, what you're going to buy because it's a repeat purchase, but searching it, then finding the right one, then figuring out if there is a discount on, if there is a 2+1 discount or any discount going on, it's a lot of mental cycle going on. And people forget because they have just 20,000 other things to do. Right? But if we can do that personalization and ping that message to you on WhatsApp, you most probably were already on WhatsApp to respond to a family member or to a work group or to your society where you stay kind of conversations. And then it's just a tap for you. So the friction of buying comes a lot down, and you immediately are able to do those transactions rather than that 10-minute, 20-minute, which you will spend figuring out that. That's one thing, right? The second thing that happens is because the transaction happened on WhatsApp, or say because they are connected with you on WhatsApp, they associate with you better. They are more, they relate better with you, the brand, the loyalty is higher. And they also start doing their support conversations on WhatsApp because, well, that's the channel they are at, and it's much easier to just keep talking to you there. So when the support conversations and you're doing those support conversations well, you are answering those questions 24/7, not forcing your own paradigms and your own English and your own languages on the customers, but rather letting them express in their language of their choice and however they feel connected with you, right? You're building that loyalty just because you're present for them 24/7 rather than making them wait or use a channel they are not comfortable with. Right? So everyone is comfortable on WhatsApp, but not everyone is will be comfortable using an email, right? So when you are there, it builds loyalty in the customers. When there is a loyalty, there's a famous saying which goes for all the businesses, right? I mean, retaining a customer is 3 times better than acquiring a new one. So if you can retain the, when you are on WhatsApp, connected with them, assisting them, the retention is so much higher. So for some brands, it will show up as a higher repeat, higher purchase. For other brands, it might show up as higher renewals. If there's a product which has an annual renewal, right? You will have much higher renewal if you're connected with the customers all the time. Or there could be other use cases in which the person may or may not have enough bandwidth or time to immediately install your support channels or figure out, but just want to speak to you quickly because it might be a case of emergency. Right? In those cases, you want to be present at that instant for the customer, and there is no better channel than WhatsApp. So what this helps when you're deploying these features, what it assists you is be present with customer through the life cycle. From when they first discovered you on, say, a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, or they got a referral from a friend where they forwarded a number that, hey, this is my, this is a new cool D2C shop I have figured, and they have amazing sneakers, right? Why don't you check it out? From there to the whole of the transaction that happened, all the support query, all the status updates which they received, to all the support which they got, and then the repeats that happened. Right? You can drive that entire thing on WhatsApp itself, and that drives loyalty. When you have loyal customers, you have a successful business.
True. Couldn't agree more. And as a online shopper, I would love to get updates from brands that I usually go to. That it's time for you to restock, or there's a promotion going on. It's like a friend telling me that I have to go and restock something. So yeah.
See, one more thing that I would add to it is, right, Josna, most of the conversation that brands were doing before this was synchronous. If a brand tries to reach out to me on phone call right now, or for most of the day, most probably I'll not pick those calls, right? Plus those 080079 numbers, even if the intent is right, I'll feel to be in a spam. But if they can reach out to me post my opt-in on WhatsApp, I'll respond as and when I'm available. And they can't call me after 8 because the TRI guidelines don't allow it in India, and same for the rest of the world. But they can reach out when their personalization engine tells Gaurav is most likely to respond. I will still not recommend pinging on WhatsApp at middle of the night, but probably 7:38 is a good time to reach out if the people have been busy through the day, right? And that in asynchronous communication drives a lot of value because now I choose when I want to respond rather than a phone call fixing. I mean, for being forced to respond, which usually doesn't happen.
I totally agree, and thank God for these new features. Renisha, so WhatsApp, with these latest updates, you mentioned how it's driving the larger conversational commerce story. What role you think conversational AI is playing in this ecosystem to drive the momentum?
Right. So, of course, when you talk about AI, it's all about handling, conversations at scale, or automating something that would, like, a business would not have been able to do manually, right? That's where you really see cost savings, or you see efficiencies coming in for the business. So with conversational commerce, I think it goes hand in hand to saying that if you want to handle millions of conversations at a single time, where maybe several customers are talking to you at the same time, asking their own questions, or having their own queries that they're putting across on the platform, You want to be able to handle those in a way which is cost efficient. And if you're doing that, then you have to look at an AI kind of a solution where the business can make sense or have a solution deployed where the customer, whatever they're saying in their own language, they're able to understand, they're able to make sense of that, and are able to give appropriate responses to that customer. So if customer A is saying that he wants to look for or is looking for a particular type of product, the business should then be able to say that look up in their inventory, see whether those products are available, and then show a list of options to the customer and say that yes, we do have these available in these colors at in these quantities, and then be able to kind of show that and take the customer through the purchase journey, for instance. On the other hand, if you look at more of a customer engagement kind of a use case where maybe the business is reaching out to the customer themselves, it's all about segmenting and targeting better. And there again, I think AI can really help in figuring out, using a lot of data that businesses will anyway have about these customers, or even to like target types of customers, right? Which or specific cohorts of customers just based on our behavior. They can segment better, send more relevant offers to those customers, and that can be done again at scale, so that when the user receives that message, that's something that they find useful. They're then it's automatically and intuitive for them to then just continue with the conversation on WhatsApp and see what the brand has to offer, and of course make the purchase or set up time for to understand more from the business. So conversational AI becomes crucial, whether it's a chatbot or it's some kind of process automation that the business is trying to bring in, because of course it will help the customer experience be one standard on brand for the end for the business, to make sure that they're talking the same language, they're showing the same kind of uniform experience to customers, but also making sure that they're addressing the customer's query in a highly personalized way. So I think yes, when it comes to commerce, you're looking at like I mentioned, very personalized lists or personalized product recommendations and things like that, but also a very dynamic sort of tight integration with your platforms in the back end, with your CRM or ERP systems, because it's important that when it's a commerce journey, you're also making sure that your back end systems are very tightly coupled, so that you're not maybe selling or displaying items that probably the business does not have stock of, or gets out of stock, etc. So one of the things that, because we use the Facebook catalog and it's very easy there to kind of integrate your backend systems with the catalog, it makes sure that whenever the user sees a listing of a product, it is the on the fly kind of the right stock, inventory, etc., and the list of products that are available, and the business can then control to only show those items which are available. So this is the kind of efficiency and scale that automation can bring in, and something that businesses should really consider when they're thinking about building out a conversational commerce journey.
Got it. And building on that, Gaurav, if you could help us understand what are the best practices which brands should keep in mind while deploying a WhatsApp chatbot?
So, see, in terms of best practices, right, the single best practice that Radisha has also been stressing constantly is that you need to personalize. You need to go through all the stacks of personalization when you're building that WhatsApp experience for the customers, right? It starts with like she mentioned, personalized lists, personalized catalogs. You're showing them what will matter to them rather than a generic one size fit all, and to going all the way to the language personalization, which you are speaking to them in the language of their choice, right? So first and most important one is that you need to personalize the entire experience across the products which you show, to the kind of conversations which you do, to how that entire experience plays out for them. The second thing that gets important is you need to focus on both bringing more users to your WhatsApp commerce platform. I mean, not just commerce, but entire WhatsApp conversational experience. And second, retaining those customers, right? Typical how you will work on, say, app. We need to do the same thing on a WhatsApp as well. So what kind of messages you're sending them for onboarding them? I mean, of course, assuming that you have the permission to reach out to them. What kind of onboarding experience you're giving when you are taking those opt-ins, and then what updates which you're sending to them. There is a fine line. How many updates do you really want to send before you start people start finding you spammy as well, right? So what kind of updates you're saying and how value add you're doing to them. The next one which becomes, and we have seen eventually people are getting into it, is that you need to track that entire conversions. So the way I personally look at, and most of the team at our end also looks at it, is that end of the day, all of this is a marketing funnel. If 100 people came on my WhatsApp, I want all 100 to achieve their goals, right? Let's say my goal was that they should get their support ticket solved or they should make a purchase. Then you need to start looking into where those drops are happening. Are there a lot of drops when I'm asking email? If that's the case, then can I push it further below? Is some part of my messaging not very clear, right? I mean, maybe the messages are not very right. See, we have a depth of talent in building great UX. We also have depth of talent in building great, highly scalable engineering products. The talent to build highly engaging conversational products is still evolving. So you see a lot of job offers on conversational designers. This job didn't exist 3-4 years back, right? So then we need to focus on the messaging which is going out, how we are talking to the customers, and for the higher conversion. So this becomes another critical point. And then measuring it, like I said, I mean, you have to treat it as a funnel. You have to track it, what conversions are coming from my WhatsApp versus what's coming from my other channels, how one is faring better than other, which cohorts are working better. For these, a lot of times, say a ready-to-mate solution may not be available, right? And you have to work around it, but you need to still track it. So say for app or web, it's much easier to use something like, say, CleverTap or MoEngage or Insider to track it. But when it comes to messaging, then you need to work on a bit on it. There is no plug-and-play solution, right? Then SIFT also provide a fail-safe for people. What happens if they get stuck, right? I mean, automation is great till it fails. And when it fails, you want a safe space, safe passage for customers to get out and talk to a human, because end of the day, customer is there to solve a problem. Customer doesn't, I mean, beyond the point, it's not their problem if your automation was not able to handle it. So how do you provide that exit to the customers all the time to give a, maybe give a fail-safe experience, right? So all these are few important things which we need to keep in mind when deploying on WhatsApp. Part will be automated, part will be human. Some parts will be done better by humans, others will be done better by bots. Some will get driven through all the new features which WhatsApp is releasing. And most probably the purchases won't need human support anymore, but maybe support will still require human support, right? So all through the funnel, you need to measure, all through the funnel, you need to optimize, and then just keep automating better and better, and then keep deploying to more and more people. And what I love about this is, for the first time, now this can become like my servers. This entire conversational experience can become my servers, where I scale it when I need it, and then I rescale it, unlike what it used to be earlier with humans.
True. Couldn't agree more. And on the measuring bit, we have a question from the audience that I would want to take, where, and maybe Renisha would be able to answer this. If you could help us understand how one will be able to get stats on product sales on WhatsApp.
Right. So on WhatsApp, of course, like I mentioned, the feature today that we have is the ability for customers, for businesses to display a set of curated products in a list to their customers. Once the customer actually places that order, as in creates a set of items in the cart and places that order, that flows back to the business. And then the business actually has that information of what exact products, what quantity, what's the total amount. They have that complete information with them. Because WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, unfortunately, we don't have access to understanding what exact products were ordered or were placed, but that information is available with the business. And therefore, whomever, whether you're implementing it or whether your provider like Verloop is implementing it for you, that information will be available with you, and you can use that information to actually integrate that within your own systems which you use maybe for order management, etc. So you will have that information. We will not be able to present it, of course, like on a dashboard or provide maybe an aggregated view as of now, like I mentioned, because we have restrictions, mainly the fact that we are end-to-end encrypted. But this is information that you or your business solution provider like Verloop will have and will be able to, make available to you as a business. I hope that answered the question.
So, Renish, I would expand on that because we do work with a lot of brands who track their conversions. So, like Renish said, right, even if WhatsApp wants, they can't provide you with that because they just don't know what the messages are inside that conversation. It's end-to-end encrypted. So the way it works and the way at least the brands have been working with us is fairly simple. When we add all of this, we add simple UTM parameters and we attach sources and all to WhatsApp. And then while these API calls are being made, we pass this information also to your analytics providers. So like we have ready to use integrations with MoEngage, CleverTap, Insider, WebEngage, all of them. So that information then goes and sits in your usual cohorts, how you have been tracking the rest of the website. The other thing that also, so you can see which products were shown to the customer. You also have access to what items were being added to the cart, because when the cart APIs are eventually, end of the day, these are the business APIs unified across your, I mean, those are your APIs as a business, those are your APIs. So we use them. So we pass that information. And while creating payments also, we pass this information that, hey, this payment request is coming from WhatsApp as a channel or say Facebook Messenger as a channel, right? So then the tracking for business ends up in the same platform where rest of the tracking is happening. And then WhatsApp becomes a source of getting new orders or support tickets or new engagement or new leads or new qualification, whatever the use case be.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. And we've already answered some of the questions which the audience has asked, and it gets us to the end of the discussion. Any closing comments from both of you?
No, I think it's been great to actually come out here and have this conversation. I think it is becoming increasingly important for businesses in this highly competitive world, I would say, because there's like so much information out there. Sometimes it can be very confusing to consumers, and businesses all the more now need to figure out how to stay relevant, how to stand out. And I think WhatsApp is that place or that channel which gives businesses an opportunity to, one, create that customer experience which is highly personal, is a one-to-one, is a way for you to connect with your customers. And therefore, I think all businesses who are looking at building really great customer experiences should definitely consider WhatsApp. And look at WhatsApp for for conversational commerce, or whether it's automating some of your support journeys. It's definitely something that you should explore.
Gaurav, from you, anything?
Sure. Like Renisha said, right, it's amazing to see how businesses have been using WhatsApp, and especially more so since in last 2 years, how everyone has been adopting to use more and more WhatsApp to reach out to the customers. And this is just getting more and more used, getting more and more ingrained in the lives of both on the business side as well as the customer side. We saw early on, it was being used for pretty basic notifications. Now the use cases have been constantly evolving. So from where it was super early when it was launched, where Make My Trip sent me, Book My Show and Make My Trip sent me my tickets, and it was magical, to now where the full-fledged conversations are happening. Pretty interesting to see both from the way the use case have been evolving and also the platform which has been evolving. And because ML keeps evolving along with the same, so the overall experience has been evolving. So super excited on what happens next, say 6 months, 12 months.
So are we. I hope all of you had a insightful session. I enjoyed it a lot. I want to thank Renisha and Gaurav once again, and close the discussion for taking out time and answer some of the questions for us.